Success is one of the most used words in the world, and at the same time one of the least understood. Everyone wants it, many chase it, some reach parts of it, yet very few feel truly at peace with it. If success were only about money, status, or visible results, then achieving those things would automatically bring fulfillment. But reality tells a different story. There are people who seem to have everything and still feel restless, empty, or disconnected. And there are others with very little who feel grounded, calm, and deeply satisfied with their lives. That contrast alone tells us that success cannot be reduced to what can be measured from the outside. Think of the older man who lives in a small apartment, drives an old car, and spends his mornings walking to the same cafe where the staff knows his name. He doesn't earn much, he doesn't travel far, and his life would never be featured as impressive. Yet he sleeps well, laughs easily, and carries no urgency to prove anything. He knows his limits, his routines, and his values. By many external standards, he has little. But internally, he has stability, and that is a form of success many people with more money never reach. Most definitions of success are inherited, not chosen. They come from society, comparison, expectations, and pressure. Success becomes a checklist: income, recognition, possessions, influence. But these measures ignore the inner cost. They don't ask whether the life being built is sustainable, or whether the person living it still recognizes themselves. A young mother working part-time, living modestly, choosing time over status, may never reach those external milestones, yet she may feel deeply successful because her life reflects her priorities instead of someone else's expectations. Real success cannot be defined only by what you gain. It must also be defined by what you do not lose. There are people who earn more every year but lose their health, their patience, and their presence with the people they love. And there are others who choose less, fewer hours, simpler goals, a smaller lifestyle, and protect their energy, their relationships, and their peace. A man who leaves a high-paying job to work locally, spend evenings with his family, and live within his means may look like he stepped backward. But internally, he stepped into alignment. Another misunderstanding is the idea that success is a destination. As if there were a moment where everything finally settles and satisfaction permanently arrives. This belief keeps people chasing. But notice how often the most content people are not waiting for one day. They live now. A retired couple with a modest pension, a small garden, and simple routines doesn't postpone happiness until something more arrives. They built a life where contentment doesn't depend on future upgrades. Success is not a destination. It is a direction. It is the ongoing alignment between who you are, what you value, and how you live. When success is defined this way, progress feels calmer. Effort becomes intentional instead of frantic. This is why a craftsman who earns enough, not more than enough, and takes pride in honest work can feel more successful than someone constantly chasing the next promotion. One life is coherent. The other is pressured. Responsibility is another core part of success. Not controlling everything, but responding consciously. A single parent managing limited resources, budgeting carefully, and showing up every day is practicing a form of success that rarely gets recognition. They may never feel ahead financially, but they are deeply responsible, and that responsibility creates dignity. Discipline also plays a role, but not the harsh kind. Real discipline is quiet consistency. A person who wakes up early, takes care of their health, keeps promises, and lives simply often experiences more stability than someone with endless options but no structure. Discipline rooted in purpose builds peace, not exhaustion. There is also a moral dimension to success. How you succeed matters. A shop owner who treats customers fairly, pays employees honestly, and closes the store on time to go home may never expand into a chain, but he sleeps at night knowing he didn't betray his values. That peace is part of success. Success includes endurance. Life does not move in straight lines. Some of the most grounded people have faced layoffs, illness, or financial setbacks and still rebuilt modestly without bitterness. They didn't win In a dramatic way, they stayed steady. Endurance is success without applause. Relationships are another measure. Success that isolates you is incomplete. A person with few possessions but strong friendships, shared meals, and genuine connection is often far richer than someone surrounded by luxury and emotional distance. Humans are not fulfilled by achievement alone. Success also includes knowing when enough is enough. Some people stop chasing more not because they failed, but because they understood that more would not add meaning. A teacher who stays in the same school for decades, mentoring generations, may never earn much, but the impact, the respect, and the inner fulfillment define success in a deeper way. One of the most important measures of success cannot be counted: peace. Not the absence of problems, but the absence of constant inner conflict. When life matches values, when effort serves something meaningful, peace becomes possible even with limited means. Many people with little money but clear priorities experience this peace daily. Failure is not the opposite of success. Avoidance is. Many satisfied people failed early, adjusted expectations, and built simpler lives instead of forcing outcomes. They didn't give up, they refined their definition of success. Success also deepens when it goes beyond the self. When people volunteer, mentor, help neighbors, or support family without expecting recognition, they experience a sense of success that money cannot buy. Contribution gives meaning where accumulation cannot. At its core, success is coherence. Inner and outer alignment. Knowing why you wake up, why you work, and why you keep going. It is not perfection. It is honesty. And this leads to the most important reflection. The real question is not whether you look successful to others. It is whether you feel successful when everything is quiet. When there is no audience, no comparison, no pressure to prove anything. When you look at the life you are living, not the one you planned years ago, but the one you have now, does it make sense to you? Does it reflect what you value, even if it looks simple from the outside? If this reflection resonates with you, you're not alone. This channel exists for people who are trying to build something real, not just externally, but internally. Here, we talk about success, discipline, faith, purpose, and the quiet decisions that shape a meaningful life over time. If you're searching for clarity instead of noise, and depth instead of shortcuts, you're welcome here. Subscribe to Motifimi now, and keep walking this path with us. One thought, one decision, one step closer to a life that feels truly successful.